What up, nerds? We are back in your ear holes for another episode of the Winner Is You podcast. It's April, so of course that means it's time for some March movie madness. Thanks to Resident Evil for throwing us off for a little bit.
I was trying to think of like a word for movies or films that could fit into April or Easter, and I can't think of anything.
No, the only thing.
April at the movies.
April feels March.
Yeah, spring cinema.
March. Yeah,
we fucked it.
Yeah, we made a mess. Anyway, we're here to talk about what are we here to talk about? Yeah.
Everything.
We're here to bust you out of the mental asylum. So strap in, folks. Come with us if you want to live. We are here to talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger and Terminator. Well, specifically, Terminator 2D No Fate, Terminator 1 from 1984, and Terminator 2 from 1990. I would say 4. 91, I'd say 91. Because we're such experts on this. I've got it in my... Let's have a look. I'll race you to it.
91.
91, you nailed it. Well done. Before we get all that, how are you doing, Alex? You feeling good today? Loving life? Liking your hat? Going for the corduroy?
Yeah, but the hat's on because I've got sunburn on my naked bonce while watching Cassie on some bouncy castles for an hour. And I said to Rachel at one point, like, I should probably go get a hat, and then I didn't, and now I'm sunburnt. Sunburnt in early April, so that's all right, I suppose.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Considering you were about to get hit by a storm or something up there, aren't you?
It was 2 degrees when I was walking the dog this morning. So
it's been like 17 here today.
So yeah, I'm freezing. Although I do have my window open just now, so it's fairly warm. It's a balmy like 8 degrees now or something like that. So
well, hey,
we are living the dream,
living it.
But yes, summer's definitely coming. It's cold, but it's bright at the moment. So I was out for a run this morning, thinking I need this in my life. My soul needs some bright weather. I didn't realise how much of a funk I was in until the good weather comes along.
Yeah, the weather doesn't usually bother me in any regard, other than previously when I was able to run and exercise, I would be bothered by the fact that they wouldn't let us play football anymore. Or it got too dark to play football after work because it would, daylight, or the opposite of daylight savings, would stop. So that would... it would stop. So then, that would kill the football. But other than that, I couldn't give a shit. I obviously prefer it when it's not really hot and sunny. So this is all just a slow march towards the
hell zone,
uncomfortable Alex season. Yeah, towards the hell zone. Exactly. Everybody else effectively enjoying the summer will be, celebrating, putting their hands in the air, giving it the thumbs up. I'll be giving the Terminator thumbs up as I descend into a pit of lava and sweat. Just
yeah. Well, you've got aircon now, so I guess we won't get it. But I was saying, I was thinking we were sort of doing the steady march towards the old when you're in a video game chat with Alex, just to if that comes up on the
yeah, it will just go fly. Yeah, it would just be
with a fan, whatever's happening.
Yeah, that will come. Yeah, we'll be coming to a stage where I will be living every possible second of my life with aircon that I can. So I'll be waking up in the morning. I'll be presetting the aircon in my car before I get in it. I'll be getting in it with aircon. I'll get to the office. I will hastily walk to the office where I can turn the aircon on, and then I will get home to my games room and turn the aircon on. Yeah. So it's really just going to be in bed that's going to be the problem.
Yeah.
And that if it ever becomes so much of a problem, I'll just buy another aircon, put it in the bedroom as well. But the one I've got is supposed to have some kind of bedtime mode or sleep mode, and it doesn't actually make it any quieter. So I think that was false advertising because no one's sleeping with that on. No idea. I think it goes off after a certain amount of time, but it's supposed to be quieter, but it is not.
Mm. Yeah, that's not good.
But that's a different kind of Judgment Day coming up, isn't it? For a bit later in the year.
Coming up, yeah. But yeah, like I say, we're here to talk about.
You all right?
We're here to talk about Terminator. What's your history with the Terminator franchise? Do you have one, so to speak, or have you just sort of come to it later in life to set the scene?
I distinctly remember being allowed, against my mother's judgment, to watch Terminator 1 at a friend's house. Probably when I would have been, let's say 6, 7, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, basically it would have been before. Oh no, it would have been after I started junior school at my new place. So yeah, I would have been at least 7 or 8, I think. And his mum was told to fast forward the sex scene, which is not really much of a sex scene, but there's a bit of tit.
Yeah.
So wasn't allowed to watch that. But yeah, so I saw that at a very early age. I don't know if my dad never really seemed to, as far as I could tell, be massively into Terminator or indeed Arnie films. But once I started to get my own money from like sort of 15, 16 onwards, and I had, DVD player, I sort of would buy. I bought quite a lot of the Arnie movies, and I'm actually quite he may not be the greatest human being in the world. He's absolutely not the best actor in the world, but there are a lot of Arnie films that I really, really like. He's got, and that largely, I guess, is helped by the source material being really good. Things like Total Recall, all the directors being really good. Things like Terminator 2 and 1. But even that, like you're Running Man.
Yeah, he also had like a WWE WCW rivalry going on with Sylvester Stallone, didn't he, about who could make the best action movie? And it was just such.
I thought you were talking about the moment he was in WWE, because there was also that, and I think he bitch slapped someone.
Excellent.
I'm going to say Triple H. That's my guess.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't remember that, but yeah. Sorry, I cut you.
Yes, he did though. Yeah. I massively prefer Arnie movies to Stallone movies.
I think I do too. I'm trying to think. Yeah, Rambo's cool.
Rambo's cool. Rocky's cool. The first Rocky.
I often
and a couple of them.
I think I've said this to you a few times, and I've almost certainly said it on the pod. Then is that I had a friend that I sort of grew up with, and it was at a period when you could get DVDs for like a tenner in HMV, and we would sort of save movies, and we would sit on the train, and we'd come up with a theme. And then we had to go in and and just buy a bunch of DVDs based on that theme. And then we'd just go home and watch them at his grand's. And
nice.
I often think about that, and I often think about, I should do that again, but on my own with Arnie movies, and just to sort of enjoy the sort of mid 80s to 90s action movie era, which is probably one of my favorite movie eras and genres, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Just get really into Arnie for a while, because he's got such a long career, and you're right, some great movies. And
some truly great movies.
And then he did that. There was that period of time where he sort of did this switch into comedy, which he was surprisingly good at. Like Jingle All the Way is not bad.
I really like Jingle All the Way. Yeah. It's not a very good film, but I really like it.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't really remember much about Twins or Junior. I feel like I want to watch them again, though.
Yes. I mean, I've got fond memories of them. Maybe it's maybe it's one of those best left alone. But yeah, I kind of want to.
Well, I appreciate Danny DeVito a lot more now after Always Sunny, so I think maybe I would probably enjoy that more going back to it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've been a massive fan of Terminator 2 for many decades at this point. I've long thought it was one of, if not the greatest action movie ever made. Not to spoil later on in the podcast or anything. The biggest problem, the two biggest problems the Terminator franchise has been its steady decline in quality and an almost complete dearth of good video games.
Yeah. I was trying to think. Yeah, there's that one that's made by the RoboCop people that's meant to be good, but I just couldn't get over the hump with it.
Yeah, that as in terms of recent ones, yes, I would say the best
gun game that's quite good. That was on the Mega Drive. I feel like I played that.
Oh yeah. Actually, you know what? Terminator 2 on the Mega CD is pretty good. I had to review that for Sega Mania. I may look at that later on when we're talking about the game and see if I can find some choice nuggets I said about it. But the greatest prior to 2D, I would have said that the best Terminator game is RoboCop versus the Terminator on the Mega Drive. Yeah, that game is phenomenal and incredibly violent, especially for its time. Quite difficult though, way more difficult than the modern one.
Before we started recording this podcast, I did have a quick, like yesterday maybe, certainly over the weekend, I had a quick Google to see how many Terminator games, because I'm not actually aware of that many. There have been a lot of Terminator games. However, you're right. None of them have really come across my radar. Is that the right term?
Well, yeah, because usually they're not very good.
Yeah. I wrote, so again, I'll try and say this once, and I'll try and remember not to say it again, because I'll just end up repeating myself the whole evening. But I was saying to you over the weekend that I've started journaling, and I try and just write something every day. And if I've got like a movie or something or a game or a book, I usually write about that. Just sort of jot down some thoughts. It doesn't have to be long, but yeah. So like every time when we've played this game, or we've watched Terminator movies over the last few days, I've been doing a bit of jotting down about it. And my overriding feeling about the Terminator game was this is a game that seems to be just shooting for like pure 90s nostalgia vibes.
Yeah, it's just a Mega Drive game.
Yeah. Quickly though, because I realised I asked you and then I didn't go into myself. My sort of history with the Terminator franchise is a bit up and down, to be honest. I've got a memory of watching it at Terminator 2, watching that at my friend's house, and us being absolutely obsessed with it. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I think we spent the day playing Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo, and then had tea and watched Terminator 2 down in his living room, and that was amazing. And at some point, so when I watched Terminator, the first one, last week, I knew the beats, and I've definitely seen it before, but I don't really have any sort of memory of sitting down and seeing Terminator for the first time. So I must have picked it up as a kid at some point, because I knew that obviously Arnie was the bad guy in the movie. But yeah, that was it really. Nothing else really sort of stuck in my memory. So that was it. And like I say, I've not really played many Terminator games. There was a light gun game on the Mega Drive that I used to play round at my friend Tony's house, when we just sort of hold the gun up to the screen like kids did and just shoot it. But yeah, other than that, I've been sort of fond of the franchise, or knew I was fond of the franchise from a distance. But this is the first time I've sort of really dived in and immersed myself in it, and I've had a great old time doing it. You're looking at a magazine.
Yeah, I think just the screenshots of this game, like, it does actually look pretty damn good. It's a very nice. One. It's Mega CD.
Okay.
That's what I would recommend. It's far better than the Mega Drive or SNES versions of that game.
Maybe that's
although the FMV cutscenes are absolute dog shit. I really wanted to tell you to play RoboCop versus Terminator before this, because I had plans to as well, but I wasn't sure when we were recording, and then we had to push it to Monday night, Easter Monday, and so I didn't have a chance to say it to you. But never mind. Another time.
Yes, exactly. But we'll start with the game.
No.
We'll start with Terminator.
I think we should start. Yeah. I think we should, because I think typically when we've done these pods before, we've done movies then game.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right then, Alex, what do you think about let's start with the Terminator from 1984. I was going to suggest starting with Terminator 2, but I suppose it makes sense to start with the Terminator.
Yeah.
Will we chat about this movie? We'll give us our thoughts and feelings, hopes and dreams about what we were expecting, how it was, what we think about it. Talk about Terminator 2, maybe compare the two a little bit, and then move on to the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to kick things off? Do you like Terminator? Obviously, I mean, I was going to say obviously, but maybe not. I was going to say obviously it's a weaker film than Terminator 2, but
I agree with that. For me, I love the sort of brooding tension of the first game. It's almost like a horror game. Here we go. That's going to be, how many times are we going to do that? Of the first movie, it almost feels like a horror. It's got horror vibes to it.
I think
certainly
it's
got that
track is certainly horror.
Yes, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yes, it's got that horror synth discordant bollocks flapping around all over it.
There was a period in sort of the 70s and 80s where people just thought discordant synth. I was going to say discordant synths, but synth of various types seems to be just code for future music in that era.
Yeah.
And this is definitely one of those.
I actually think as well, though, it has got some moments of humor in the first film. Yeah. Well, obviously the second one does as well. The second one tries a lot harder to be funny than the first one. I think it's intentional for the most part, in the first one, which is like a really, really cool mix. But yeah, it's just this mix of
Was it trying
slow
to be funny
burning.
when it burnt his eyebrows off?
Well, that's not intentionally funny. No. We'll get to. I think once we get to T2, we'll talk about the upgrade in the prosthetics and the makeup from 1 to 2. Because
he hasn't actually burnt his eyebrows off, has he? It wasn't like a stunt gone bad or something.
No, it wasn't Michael Jackson in that Pepsi advert or whatever it was.
I just couldn't figure out why he had no eyebrows.
I know, but I hope they shaved them off for him, though. But they probably didn't. They probably just. I don't know what they did. The worst thing about the burnt Terminator eyebrow part is the fact that I think it improves his hairline. He seems to have a straighter hairline after his hair's been singed off than before, when he goes to like a flat top or whatever that he's trying to pull off. But yeah, like it's the first one, it's not necessarily a slow burn. It's just more of like, it's quite intentionally paced to have like a slow burn of dread, then a shot of ultraviolence, and then it goes, and then it kind of just repeats itself over and over again.
Yeah.
With each time the Terminator kind of reappears. And so, yeah, it's not quite as good as the second one, but I feel like these films kind of not directly. Let me start that again. I feel like these films kind of almost mirror Alien and Aliens in the way that in their tones.
Yeah,
so whereas Alien is more of like a horror focused film, again with moments of like sharp action and ultra violence, and then the second one is kind of way more action focused. I feel like Terminator and T2, James Cameron links there, probably not a coincidence, although he obviously did both of these films. I think, yeah, they seem kind of similar vibes wise to me, the way that they change, I guess, for a more modern audience, although Aliens, of course, was 86 maybe, not quite 90s. The scariest thing about Terminator 1 is the fact that the post-apocalyptic scene is fucking 2029. 3 years, boys. Here we go.
Yeah, we're approaching that.
Not the only parallel to how shit they'll play the world is it?
Yeah, I'd agree. The other thing that sort of jumped out to me, and I did text you about this briefly, and I've had a little bit more time to think about it, is but I think it's less sort of a criticism of the movie and more of a general critique of sort of movies and action movies of that era. And I find like the storytelling and sort of structure of movies in this era quite sticky in a way that like they just feel slightly like. So the only way I've been trying to think how to word this, because I'm going to come across like an idiot, I know it, but I need to try and figure a way to get out. The only way I can think about it is when I think about some movies around this era, even earlier, sort of late 70s into the early 80s, costume design I always find quite interesting. I feel like there's at some point movies spent a lot of time trying to emulate stagecraft. And the things like costumes look like, so like a gang member in a movie during this era will look like a hyper stylized, almost cartoon version of what you would think a gang member would look like. They'd have like the spiky hair and the over the top dress in the way that most people didn't actually dress in those eras, but you're like, oh, he's a punk, so he's got to have that classic hair and he's got to have some spikes somewhere. Although he'll say, "Nice night for a walk, eh?" if it's in Terminator 1, which is the least like intimidating punk cap I would have ever expected to hear. Who wrote that dialogue? That's outrageous. Yeah, I just think there's a stickiness to Terminator 1 that I can't really describe in any other way. But like I was saying to you, Mad Max in a similar era has the same feel to me. So it's a bit like with anime. There's something about anime that I don't like, but trying to verbalize it I find really difficult. Okay. This is the same one, but yeah, like, so I think it, yeah, like I say, it feels quite sticky. The soundtrack we've already spoken about, I really sort of didn't get along with that. I find it like, no, I hate it, like auditorily uncomfortable rather than sort of, like, understand like discordant music's meant to be uncomfortable and meant to sort of rise up tension and create a sense of unease, but it was just like, it was less unsettling and more discomfort I was feeling with I'm a pretty hairy guy. I'm getting to an age now where
I do routinely have to start trimming the old ear hairs. I don't think I'd need to while watching T1. That the sound of the replica sound of a cat running over a synth, I think, singed that fucking hair off for me. Especially in that first the police chase scene with John when he first comes to the whatever
which is
year it's
quite an
supposed to be.
extended chase scene, isn't it? Like
Mhm.
I think there's like I was trying to think of that again, like the sort of construction of the movie, and it is really just sort of a lot of action sequences broken up by sort of slow periods of like short discussion.
Of 80s bollocks.
Yeah, 80s chat.
People listening to
action
Walkmans
scenes.
while having sex.
Yeah.
Oh no, I am not having sex with Ginger ever. She fucks with her headphones on. That is outrageous. She's like a fucking. She was brain rot before brain rot was even a thing. She's got such
Yeah,
a bad
was.
attention span. She still needs music on while she's getting laid. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that kid in the restaurant drives me around the bend as well. Like what like there's no way Cassie would take a scoop of ice cream and put it
I love that kid.
In someone's
just
apron or whatever.
pocket. Yeah, that was one of the funniest things. I'd completely forgotten about that scene. What a little shit. Just leaning over and dumping his ice cream in Sarah Connor's pocket.
Sarah Connor's also got the worst co-worker of all time. She's like, "Oh, Sarah,
yes,
come check this out. Check how
you'll love this." She says, "You're going to love this.
Everyone with your name's getting murdered."
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it, Sarah?
That's really good.
But what do you expect for somebody who chews gum while smoking? What's that? What does that do?
Rotten.
What purpose does that solve? Yeah, unbelievable.
But yeah, like
I love quirky shit like that.
Yeah,
just someone smoking and chewing gum, or someone listening to a Walkman while having sex. Like, it's so of an era, but also like should have never happened in any era. Like those things don't make sense.
No, I do think it is a very fun movie though overall.
I think the violence especially can get very fun. Like the bit where the Terminator is fucking up Ginger's boyfriend Matt, and you've got all these like, there's moments of Ginger obviously being scared or whatever, or stuff that's going on around the outside of it, but it will just continually just cut back to the Terminator throwing Matt into something over and over again, just thrown through a door, thrown into a cabinet, thrown into a glass thing. Brilliant. That's just what I mean. Like, I think some of that is supposed to be, it's either supposed to be funny or it wasn't going full like 80s video nasty. It was still trying to be somewhat mainstream. So maybe the violence is not toned down, but just sort of delivered in a way that isn't intentionally meant to shock as much as it maybe would have done or would do now.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And it just becomes funny.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I ended up sitting with it. I think a lot of the comedy, some of it is obviously intentional, but some of it's not. Like again, like with the sort of stodginess, again, sort of linking back to the stodginess. Like another good example of that is that like the Terminator is obviously made to look human so that he can blend in and sort of be a stealth assassin almost. There is nothing stealth about anything he does. From the moment he arrives, he just like rains down carnage on the city. So like it's like,
not going to program him for stealth, I guess, right? It's just here's your mission.
Yeah, well, it's like, are we creating like something that we're meant to be scared of? Like, as in like, oh, he can be anyone, he can be anywhere, or he's just this sort of like walking tank, which sort of to me at least, in a way undermines the thought process of a genius AI designing a humanoid robot, because it doesn't fulfill its purpose in any way, shape, or form. They'd be as well just sort of making a tank, an AI tank, and sending it back in time. It'd be more robust. It wouldn't have to worry about designing teeth and putting teeth in molds so that they can then attach each individual tooth to its body during the manufacturing process. You could just make a tank, send it,
or
and be done.
Yeah, go on. Sorry. Yeah, carry
on. Or make a car that they're going to get.
Make into. A nuke. I mean, you've already caused the apocalypse. Just get that little portal thing right over Sarah Connor's house and drop a nuke on it from the past or the future or whatever it is into the past.
But then the flip of that,
probably would have done it.
Right, it probably is trying to be funny. There's no way they send them both back in time to be butt naked for anything other than comedy value. Like, there's not like a serious, he's come back seriously naked. Or
yeah, like,
is that like an attempt at plugging a plot hole. It's like, oh, he can't take actual stuff. That's why he didn't take a nuke back and just blow the place up.
Yeah, maybe. He doesn't have any weapons, does he, or clothes? It's just the synthetic part of him that's gone through. Yeah, and I guess Skynet has already decided that humans needed to be extinguished, so maybe it just doesn't give a shit. Like, any collateral damage is a bonus to Skynet.
Yeah,
it saves the effort it was going to have to make a few years later to nuke everybody. A few less people to have to burn up on a chain link fence,
and
in a playground.
I sort of get it that when it comes to time travel in movies, at some point you've just got to suspend your disbelief. But I do find myself like, if they could go back in time, why did they go back in time then? They could have gone back in time and killed Sarah Connor as a kid. They could have gone back in time and killed Sarah Connor's mum. You know, like, just done it.
Kill Sarah Connor while she's pregnant?
Kill Sarah Connor while she's pregnant.
The only reason she gets pregnant is because Kyle goes back to help her. Oh, fucking hell.
Stood on the amoeba that became the human race. Like,
yeah, they could have done that.
And then also, I guess, like, just to sort of touch on Terminator, well, 1 and 2, really, you I guess at the end of the movies, you've got to say, well, the humans have not succeeded, because if, like, for example, at the end of Terminator 2, if they had succeeded, Arnie would have vanished in front of them, wouldn't he? Because he just never would have been. If they succeeded in not having Skynet do its thing, Arnie never would have been needed to be sent back in time, so he would have just vanished, right? I don't know how it works.
But by sending him to the past with no return trip, have they now established him enough in the past that the future won't affect him anymore?
Yeah, possibly. And to be honest, I'm kind of
like, I could understand if you did it the other way, like the other way around. That seems to work. If they get rid of John Connor now, then he won't be there in the future. But if you get rid of the potential future, the Terminator doesn't cease to exist in the past because he's already there. I don't know. We need one of those Marty McFly pictures that you could keep checking.
Do we need the Back to the Future picture where they're just like Arnold Schwarzenegger standing on a production line, just like fading in and out of existence depending on what they were doing?
Or just his blueprints and it just gets rubbed out.
But yeah, I do agree with you. Overall, like, it's a good. I wouldn't describe Terminator 1 as a great movie. I'd describe it as a very good movie that sort of. Watching these sort of movies in 2026, you've got absolutely no option but to watch it through a lens of it being 2026. I suspect if I'd watched this movie in 1984, I would have liked it a lot more than I do watching it in the modern day. But I don't think that's the movie's fault. I just think it's that film as a whole has moved forward, and Terminator doing what it did, same with Mad Max, probably allowed movies like Terminator 2 to then sort of push the envelope forward and exist and be more confident. It feels like a movie that's not fully confident, I guess, is in a way that, like, if Terminator 2 is brimming with confidence, best foot forward, like smashing it, Terminator 2 is like sort of the clever kid at the back of the class quietly doing its work without being very flashy.
Yeah, it's definitely confident in its premise, and the premise is still brilliant. You know, machines become sentient, decide to wipe out the human race. There are some survivors in the future, but the machines they are all we've decided to send back basically an unkillable, unfeeling, remorseless, relentless machine to your assassin to kill the mother of the leader of the resistance, who simultaneously sends back one of his mates to bang her.
Yeah, he's like, and he knows
not intentionally.
Well. He knows.
He must know that. He must know that. Yeah,
it's established canon. Because at the end of the movie and in Terminator is it Salvation I'm watching just now? It replays a line from the first one, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know if I'll tell you about your dad because I don't want to like color your desire to send him back." And then she goes, "I probably will though." And then, like they sort of go back to that in Salvation. So yeah, he did.
Right.
And he actually does talk about, he's like, oh, this guy he must be a teenager now and he's going to be my dad. That's really weird.
Yeah, well, he knows him too as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because little John talks about that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's certainly like, I mean, whether they had, you can look back at Terminator now and say to yourself, like, nobody else could have played it. Arnie is the Terminator. Like, it doesn't work with anybody else. Partly because he was such a tank of a human being, and partly because he was such a wooden actor that it is just so. It's almost like Keanu Reeves in John Wick.
Yeah.
Like, the dude knows fucking karate. He can't act for shit, so he's like a brooding, stoic hitman. It works perfectly. So this kind of works perfectly too. So they got that right. But whether they knew at the time that this was like as much of a slam dunk casting as it is, I'm not entirely sure, because surely this is Arnie's, this is his number one recognizable legacy.
When did Predator come out?
Before.
So
after.
Yeah,
after. I'm thinking of T2 again.
Probably is the movie. I mean, obviously Conan.
I mean, he was first. Was in
movie, but like this is the one that is sort of breakout movie, isn't it?
This is what he's remembered for, right? Yeah. Like, even when he was in office, I'm the governor and all that shit. Like, he knows that Terminator is what he's known for.
Yeah.
So
have a look. He had a bit of an acting career before. It's a lot of bodybuilding stuff. Yeah, Conan in the 82.
He's such an asshole in that bodybuilding film. What's that one called?
Well, there's a few.
Pumping Iron or something.
There's Hercules.
Like, when I'm working out, I am coming. I'm coming while I'm lifting weights.
Yeah, Terminator. He was Conan twice, and then he did the Terminator. And then he went to Red Sonja, whatever that is, and then it was Commando
never seen
after that.
Yeah, Commando's pretty good.
Raw Deal. Never heard of it.
Son of a bitch.
Then Predator, then Running Man, then Red Heat, then Twins.
Running Man is so good.
What is this for? Check this for a run, right? I don't know Raw Deal, so I'll skip that one. But he goes, but I won't skip any other ones. Commando, Predator, The Running Man, Red Heat, Twins, Total Recall, Kindergarten Cop, Terminator 2. And then he does something called Christmas in Connecticut before doing Last Action Hero. What a run that is.
But then True Lies, right? True Lies is great.
Yeah, he does Beretta's Island, and then True Lies, then Junior, then T2-3, whatever that is. Then Eraser, then Jingle All the Way.
I don't hate Eraser either.
No, I think Eraser's great. Batman and Robin, End of Days, The Sixth Day. Oh my God. Then he does something called the I Love Lucy 50th anniversary.
That's got what?
Collateral Damage. Oh, this guy has got what a run that is. Like throughout the 90s, like everything just hit after hit after hit.
Yeah. I think we both rated this film the same on Letterboxd. We both gave it 4 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair, honestly. And
I think that the mix of the tone of like I said, the tension and the horror tone of it, the ultra violence, and then the comedy in it, whether intentional. I mean, like I said before, if it's unintentional or not, I don't know. But I can't imagine, right, when they're sitting in the writer's room and they go, right, Arnie comes in, he walks into the police station, he says he wants to see Sarah Connor, they tell him he can't, he says, I'll be back. And then he drives through the front of the police station and smashes the front of it in a car. Like, no one doesn't think that's funny.
No.
Surely.
Apparently, like, that was... It wasn't even thought of at the time that was going to be, like, become, like, the sort of all-timer catchphrase. It was just a throwaway line. I remember hearing him in an interview and he was like, it was just a throwaway line that we chucked out there.
Maybe it is unintentional then. But, like, the stuff when, like... When the Terminator is impersonating Sarah's mum, and they're like, right, Sarah's mum's voice is going to come out of Arnie's mouth. That's funny. We all know that's funny.
I'll Be Back is an iconic, largely ad-libbed spoken line by Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 1984 Terminator. Originally scripted as I'll Come Back. Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah, that's shit.
Line
that makes more sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. And then apparently James Cameron preferred the line "I will be back" to sound more machine-like. And then he changed it.
I have some issues with him in the second film.
Arnie.
Yeah, being less. This is Get ready. Sound an alarm, everybody. Listen, here comes.
You're about to have a blue sky argument with someone.
No, I'm just going to have like the most pedantic point that anyone will ever make about any film ever. There's a moment where John's talking to Arnie in T2, and he says something to him, and Arnie turns around and goes, "Yeah," and that pissed me off because I don't think a robot.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think a robot would turn to somebody and go, "Yeah, what do you want?" It just wouldn't.
Yeah,
you're not going to get programmed to be conversational like that. You would just turn around and just go nothing, or like you say, just go yes.
Especially the way he's programmed. Like again, like. Yeah, there's a little bit that sort of it doesn't sit well with me that he's sort of built to blend in with society, and he does anything but in those two movies blend in with society. But yeah, you're right. That's a sort of incongruent line. I'm totally with you there.
Like someone I feel like should have picked up and gone, hold on. No. Look, you can say hasta la vista, baby, because John's told you to.
Yeah,
that's fine. But I don't get this. Like you're suddenly almost like letting your robotic self guard down to become more human in conversation. I don't know if that's a learned thing that it could grasp, but fucking hell. I mean, that is really, really nitpicking.
Did maybe it's just me, because I want to try and tie this together towards the end of our chat about the movies, but did the fact that you're watching it in 2026 in a world in which a lot of the sort of dangers that were around in 1984 and 1991 in concerning like
certainly 84
powers going to war, as well as the sort of general introduction of large language models today, did that sort of register with you at all, or did it just sort of
no, it's impossible for it not to, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, like when we played Metal Gear Solid 2 and we looked at the things that Kojima was saying about the internet and what it was going to do to everybody and how profound that felt. Like, I'm hoping this isn't entirely profound, but there's long been a panic about that, right? There's long been a human panic about machines and robots taking people's jobs and getting AI getting a mind of its own and stuff. It's just we're just so much. It's just so much more tangible right now. We can actually see it doing this kind of stuff. We can see the mistakes of lesser men like Elon Musk, having his AI start talking about Hitler and how great Hitler is and all that kind of stuff. And that's not a million miles away from, an AI machine talking about that the human race needs to be exterminated. If you're starting to talk positively about someone who wanted to exterminate parts of the human race, like you're not miles off it.
Yeah.
And that's, all AI is theft and all that shit. But, as long as humans are involved in it, then there's going to be prejudices built into these codes somewhere along the line, whether intentional or not, I suppose. Even just through, as you said, large language models or whatever, just like learning from humankind and the blueprint we've left for it to absorb knowledge from. It's impossible not to pick up prejudices from that.
Yeah. No, I agree. To sort of bridge the gap into Terminator 2, I'm about to talk about some American hubris here and display my own hubris here. But actually, can I just read you a couple paragraphs from a bit of my thoughts about Terminator 3? To get three, yeah. Well, it's in my Terminator 3 thoughts that I wrote in Letterboxd, but it's
2-star review, everybody, by the way.
2-star, but it's sort of wrapped up. It wraps together all three movies. I've tried to pick the bit that sort of bridges them all.
Okay, sorry, I wanted to point out just there as well that David gave 2 stars to Terminator 3, not that his review is 2 stars in quality.
Well, it might be 2 stars in quality. But it's basically just talking about the sort of overall notions of Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and Terminator 3 wrapped up in the sort of period of time that America was in. Hopefully I get that across without reading the whole thing. So I'll just read these 2 paragraphs here and if it doesn't, I'll try and elaborate on it. But basically, so I've written, the thing I love about Terminator 2 is its sense of optimism and excitement for the future. So whatever happens to John and Sarah after we leave them at the end of the movie, we're left with the impression that whether it brought success or failure, their future was their own, ostensibly because they decided to act and take control rather than allow destiny to run its course. I've pulled that from her writing No Fate and going on about that throughout the movie. Basically, what I've written or taken from that is that the whole movie is based around fate is not set in stone. Choices matter. What you decide to do with your life has an impact on that. Terminator 3, on the other hand, is completely throws this out the window by running with the idea that try as you might, you can't outrun destiny. This Terminator 3 is utterly obsessed with the notion of destiny, in that it's his destiny to rise up against the machines. So granted that we can read a lot into these things, but sitting here typing this out in 2026, after the USA is threatened to invade its allies, upend the world order, and give both soft and hard power to its competitors through its own hubris, I see a country wrought with a sense of entitlement. There seems to be a belief that there's a place that its place in the world is ordained rather than earned. And call me hyperbolic, but I can't help but see the plot of destiny theme that runs throughout Terminator 3 that they opted for as a symptom of the sickness that currently is infecting the USA. So T1's message felt like a warning, bearing in mind that it was set towards the end of the Cold War. The USSR would fall in December. I think that Terminator 1 came out in August. The USSR would fall in December of the same year. It felt as a warning because it was largely based around the proliferation of nuclear weapons to me. Terminator 2 felt like a message of hope, and T3 ironically feels like a movie franchise, and by extension a nation falling for many of the trappings that it was at such pains to express in its earlier years. So, look, Terminator 3 is a disappointing movie. It shoots for a light-hearted reverence, but instead comes off as a weird uncle at a wedding. T2 is a bombastic movie pocketed with heartwarming humour that served to punctuate breadth action. T3 attempts to and largely fails to consistently blend action and humour together into something that completely misses what made T2 an all-time classic. Perhaps it's just the mood I'm in concerning the current geopolitical climate, but Terminator 3 is a sad movie for all their own reasons. It's a self-aggrandizing movie that expects our attention because of what went before. And maybe back in 2003, there was some merit to that, but you can only do that once. People will get bored and move on, or worse still, begin to ignore you. Sadly, T3 is a movie best ignored. Given what I've just said about America, take from that what you will. Do you agree with any of that? Have I sort of read too much into the messaging that I'm pulling from T1, 2, and 3?
Well, I mean, I suppose you need only look at Manifest Destiny, right?
That's the thing like
so we're talking since the 19th century, America has had a belief that it's divinely ordained to expand territory.
Yeah.
At that point across the Americas.
Mm-hmm.
But one nation under God, like all this kind of shit. And of course they are not alone in these kinds of beliefs and propaganda and rhetoric to its citizens, but they're obviously one of the biggest and most globally visible at doing so. So yeah, I can definitely see the parallels.
It just sort of
to it.
Not that I was just trying to read that out, but the reason I sort of wanted to bring that up is I just felt the messaging about it was so stark, given where the franchise has gone. So given that how strong movies I find that 1 and 2 are, like I say, T1 feels a lot about a warning about what happens if power is left unchecked and just countries get too big for their boots and things like that. And Terminator 2 is quite a strong allegory to me, given that they were sort of living under the threat of nuclear war. I think the bad guy in T2 fits a lot into sort of the Russians during that era. The nuclear technology was stolen by the Russians, by the Americans, which I think fits again into this guy that is sort of swooped in and is just taken over. He's a new threat on the block, and the fact that Arnie sort of sacrifices himself at the end, to me, is the movie saying that to only truly get rid of these dangers, you need to get rid of all things. So if you look at that with nuclear weapons, that Arnie being stuck into the magma at the end is America also giving up its nuclear weapons. I think I just find it just sits with me is quite interesting, because I think if America itself was the end of Terminator 2, Arnie doesn't go into the lava. He just gets sort of patched up and then goes home and waits.
Pretends almost, yeah.
Yeah. Again, I'm probably thinking a lot into it, but we'll move on to Terminator 2. Do you agree with me that it's an all-time classic?
Yes. Yeah, it's a 5-star movie. Absolutely. It's got a bit of everything, but it's definitely, it's, in terms of an action movie, it's not, it's not pure action.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something like The Expendables or whatever. It's one of those classic Arnie movies that people don't. People, certainly at the time or whatever, who would denigrate his body of work as just him being this wooden pile of muscle that only ever seems to just be in these ultra violent things. They really are taking away the quality of story and writing in a lot of his best films. Typically written by either great directors and writers or great novelists. And this is one of those movies where it has some really like iconic and awesome action scenes in it that really just sort of punctuate the greater narrative of it that is really quite bleak, really striking and thought-provoking, but it's also tinged, or not tinged, it's also kind of elevated with this humanized form of the Terminator and how they are, giving him relationships with other characters and giving it this human side to it that
I think they felt
does
they
have moments of warmth.
Give him more humanity than they gave him in the first movie. Do you think that's a conscious choice?
I don't read out his film list from T1 to now again.
So T1 to now.
T1 to T2.
Okay. So we've got The Terminator in 1984, Red Sonja in 85, Commando in 85, Raw Deal in 86, Predator in 87, The Running Man 87, Red Heat in 88, Twins in 88, Total Recall in 90, Kindergarten Cop in 90, and Terminator 2 in 91.
Okay. Right. So that's kind of what I was expecting to have had come out of that. So there's two very obvious films there with Twins and Kindergarten Cop where it kind of feels like the mystique of Arnie that was perfectly kept in a bubble, ready to unleash in T1, where he is insanely well cast as a brooding machine that just will not stop, that has no humanity or personality to it. That kind of feels like it's impossible to do that at the point where Arnie has been in certain films like the ones that have just come.
Yeah, I like that.
So maybe they thought like, right, we can't do that again. And we need to lean into what Arnie has now kind of, he's improved. He's I suppose expanded his range. He's become more, sometimes a family friendly character.
Well, right? If you're James Cameron, who for some reason I keep calling Scott Cameron, if you're James Cameron and you are sort of trying to use your, I don't know, to use a sort of football analogy, get your best players on the field playing in their best positions, you've got a more rounded player at this point than Arnold Schwarzenegger. If he was just sort of a big man up front, he's now sort of got a bit of skill to him, right?
He's Peter Crouch now, He's not Duncan Ferguson anymore.
So I like that. You're right. Looking at his body of work, he's done stuff, and he's not stuck to just action movies. He's got Twins and Kindergarten Cop in there, so he does. He's a guy that's got range. I guess when Terminator 1 came out,
or at least
say,
of a belief that he does anyway.
Yeah. When Terminator 1 came out, he was just big guy, good body.
Yeah.
I was shocked about how old he is in the movies.
Oh yeah, go on. Yeah, how old was he in both 1 and 2?
Okay. Do you want to take a guess while I Google it again?
Yeah, hold on. Let me try and do some guesstimate maths. I hate the word guesstimate. And do some educated guessing mathematics in my head. I reckon he was probably born. I'm going to guess he was born in like let's say he's born in 1950. So he was like 30. Let's say he was like 34, 33, 34 in the first one. So in this one, he's like early to mid 40s. I'll say he's like 43 in T2.
Oh, you've absolutely nailed that. So in T1, he was 37.
Okay.
In T2.
He was born in the 40s, yeah?
Yes. And in T2, it spanned from 43 to 44 during filming.
Okay.
So
nice.
He was an older dude.
Yeah.
He's our
Yeah,
age.
rein that in
Roughly.
since I've just
Yeah, I was
turned
going
40.
to
He was an old cunt on his
He's a
last
year younger
legs.
than me in T1, and
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I guess like It's not that he was an old dude, but for having, well, I guess there's a lot of juicing going on. But like for a guy of that age,
Of course there was.
he's
Yeah.
got an incredible physique, like just holding that
Yeah.
amount of muscle.
Absolutely. Yeah. But yes, they definitely played into what he had become to, you can't hide from Hollywood movies that you've done that have been as prominently in the zeitgeist as his are. By this point, you kind of have to, you have to accept it. And I mean, it works perfectly, right? They, especially with the start of the film, I think the bait and switch they pull on you is so good. I'm not going to call it genius.
You're expecting him to be a bad guy.
Yeah, because they just bring him in almost the exact same way, and the way that he's kind of like looking for him, and sort of, I love the way that they pull that off, because it just works so nicely from the expectations, especially if you've watched them one after another, like your expectations to the second one where he's coming back to the same place for looking for the same, looking now for John himself. Really, really cool.
I also think the decision to make the T-1000 a police officer predominantly is,
or at least dressed like one,
it's extremely clever in the same way as well, because I was thinking about sort of that era in movies, and certainly from a Hollywood perspective. Cops, there was like Kindergarten Cop and Lethal Weapon and Die Hard, and like this one, like police are these like heroes in the community in Hollywood, and this absolutely comes at an era when they were really pushing the police as that. And it just sort of completely turns on that head. Suddenly, the
good point.
Protect and serve guy is the absolute villain of all villains. I just think it's a smart move all round. The whole movie is put together incredibly intelligently for what I think on the face of it. If you weren't really thinking too deep, you're like, it's just a meathead movie. It's for a meathead. It's got a meathead lead with like explosions and fights. But I think there's a lot more to this than is necessary. Apparent.
Absolutely. That I don't think there's been a more sort of shocking and like sort of, it's not, shocking is the word for it, but it's almost more than shocking. Like this, one of the most harrowing things I've seen in a film is the Sarah Connor apocalypse shot, the dream that she has with the fence, where she's watching all those kids get vaporized and stuff. Like, that is not meathead action movie level shit. Like, because the fact that they keep kind of like building up to her feeling that way, and she's being assessed for all these mental health problems, because nobody quite believes her. They see, or at least they absorb the events of the first movie as if it's just all bollocks and it's all stupid. They're almost like playing it down as the sort of thing you'd see in a meathead action movie. This one, has just so much more intelligence to it. No, that's harsh. It has more intelligence to it than a normal meathead action movie for sure. Like some of the ones that Arnie had done, like a Commando or whatever. But there's so much depth to this story, and there's obviously a lot of background lore, and there's a lot of parallels to global fears at the time.
Like I was saying, I'm going to come back to it again. Like the Cold War had just ended, so the idea that America would potentially be plunged into a nuclear apocalypse is not something that would have felt out with the realms of possibility at that time.
Yeah, definitely.
But like what do you think? Do you think that? What do you think about the bad guy?
Oh, he's amazing.
Terminator 2.
And you know what? Conversely, as well, like we're talking about how they've played the Arnie hand that they'd been dealt by his subsequent body of work since the first movie to kind of re-portray him as this more warm and personable machine. There's I'm almost certain it's in Sopranos that the T-1000 is in, and he's like a pathetic gambling addict who's desperate to go try and get like one last chance from Tony Soprano, and Tony Soprano's just like giving him such a short shrift and just emasculating him constantly that it feels like since then this guy's been put in roles. He's been almost typecast as this like remorseless badass dude.
Yeah.
That in so many roles I've seen him, basically every role I've seen him in since then, he's just been made to look like a complete joke to subvert your expectations of his face.
He's really good in The Marine with John Cena. I'll tell you that.
Is he now? Is he now?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that he's in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, I think, as a policeman, and he comes up and has a picture of like I think Jay and Silent Bob, and he asks some woman in a car like if they've seen this person. And then the woman like absolutely shits herself and drives off, terrified of him because she thinks it's the T-1000. So he's played with that since then. But yeah, what's the guy's name?
He's called Robert Patrick.
Robert Patrick, yeah. And I just want to double check as well, actually, that he looks fucking terrible now.
He is aged. He is
puffed. His face is puffed.
Yes.
The Marine is one of his known for movies.
That movie is much more fun than it's got any right to be.
I'll take your word for it. I'm not going to watch that to find out. He's been in some decent stuff, apparently, some high-rated stuff since then. Like I was looking at Edward, whatever his name is, the guy John Connor. I was looking at what he'd been in since Edward Furlong. I was looking at what Edward Furlong had been in since T2, and it's like I don't think I saw anything over 5 stars for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like, other than American History X, he has just done the shittest of the shit. I need to find that was it Robert Patrick? I need to find. Yeah, Sopranos. David Scatino, 3 episodes. Yeah. He was an absolute loser in that. Very funny to see. They knew what they were doing.
Do you know what else? I mean,
but he's great in this.
You've put it into my mind because I was just thinking about when you were chatting about how the T-1000 just is like appearance-wise the complete opposite to Arnold Schwarzenegger as well.
Yeah.
I wondered if that was
leaner.
Yeah, because they in the other Terminator movies that I've watched so far, 3 is the only other one I can really think of. Like Arnie is the only sort of big classic muscle man. They've gone for sort of slender. I don't know, more. I just thought like I don't really have any point to say with that really, other than I just thought
I suppose
the Terminators changed their looks quite dramatically, and assume that's deliberate.
Yeah, I suppose maybe because he's a different kind of material, right? Well, I can't remember what material he is. It's obviously like a much more malleable, like he can sort of melt and come back to life like that. I guess leans more towards lean. But exoskeleton versus the kind of clunkier, chunkier robot models that they just chuck an Arnie skin on top of for the original T. What is Arnie? What model is he?
T800, I think.
800.
It's just called the Terminator on IMDb, but I think it's a T800.
Okay, so yeah, I guess that mirrors technology too, right? Until recently, where phones have become. Yeah, where phones have become absolute like monster bricks in your pocket because we all now want bigger screens to see cool shit on. But before we had smartphones, really it was make your phone as small as possible.
It was, yeah.
I don't want it in my pocket. With technological advancements, I want things to be smaller. I want the thickness of my TV to be thinner and so on.
Yeah.
So, that kind of works in that as well, I suppose.
Do you know the thing that jumped out as me is I'm jumping about the place, but it's just
I've got another controversial thing to pick up. I'll be pedantic about it in a minute after that.
That's okay. Both T1 and T2 are absolutely stellar at being able to pull iconic scenes out.
Yeah.
So it's Terminator 2 specifically. I was just thinking there, like there's so many, and a lot of them are the T-1000, which is why I think it makes him such a good bad guy. So there's the first one is that moment where it cuts to John Connor's foster parents, and she's killed his dad, and she's just standing there, and then the camera pans out, and she's like stabbed him through the throat, and then that
through the milk carton.
Yeah,
as well.
And in his whole
your foster parents are dead. So good.
Every interaction or sort of scene that Robert Patrick's got in the mental asylum as well is just
that's some horrible shit.
Going through the bars, he's just amazing. Such a good bad guy.
Yeah, he is. So that leads me to go to my second pedantic point about how robots should behave. I know people like it, and I know it's kind of a theme of his character that he's since then. Like it's certainly I'm pretty sure it's in T2 No Fate's opening credits. But the finger wag is too sassy for a robot to do.
Yeah.
I don't like having to say.
Remind me when he does that.
It's just Sarah Connor just shoots him a couple of times, and he's like, nah.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like fucking. It's like Dennis from old Jurassic Park. Like, why did you do that? What part of your programming to be a remorseless killer up until this point has made you go, you know what? If they can't beat me, I'm gonna throw some shade. You can't see me. Like, come on, mate.
I totally agree with you. I do kind of like the scene though. That's the problem. Is it's sort of
exactly. Because then after that, he's all like floppy, foldy, and then making Godzilla noises or something. That goes back to what is it that we've been talking about before where that happened. We've had something before where like a machine. It's Metal Gear. I think it's the Metal Gears. Why do they make dinosaur noises?
We were talking about having speakers on it.
Yeah. Why does this one make that noise as well?
Especially because
why was I programmed to feel pain? Why?
It was a great scene, but like he had been ripped apart multiple times throughout the movie. I mean, like he had just been frozen before. Yeah, like he didn't make any dinosaur movie noises then. It was only in that. It's like, we've got some special effects budget left, lads. Let's just blow it on a scene at the end. Dinosaurs are cool. That's so gnarly, that scene where his fucking shins snap off as he's trying to walk. I love that iconic scene.
Yeah,
talking about iconic as well, unless you've got anything else to say on that. Like I want to touch on the sort of action, what do you call it, the stunts in this movie. Like,
yes,
most of the stunts.
Yeah, then we need to talk about the special effects because they're phenomenal.
Most of the stunts in this movie are all practical. So I was having a Google about.
Gotta love that
when they flew the helicopter, when the helicopter flies under the overpass, when it's chasing the police van that's got Arnie in it.
Yeah,
they actually flew a helicopter under an underpass, and the camera crew thought it was too dangerous. So Scott Cameron. James Cameron.
Where are you getting that from? Where are you getting Scott from? Are you mixing up like Ridley Scott and James Cameron?
Maybe.
You're doing the Aliens movies together.
Yeah, maybe.
Because what was his brother called? It wasn't even Scott. That wasn't Scott Cameron, was it?
James Cameron's brother.
The one who killed himself when he had cancer. Just jumped off a bridge.
Jesus. Mike.
Yeah.
Or John. He's got Mike and he's got two brothers apparently. Don't know which one.
Was it him? No, wait. It was Ridley Scott's brother now. No, I'm doing it. It was It was James Scott, Ridley Scott's brother, I think. Right? Who had cancer and went, fuck this, and jumped off a bridge.
But yeah, the camera crew thought it was too dangerous, so they basically refused to film it. So James Cameron had to film that scene himself from the back of a van while the stunt flyer flew the plane under the bridge. And that just blows my mind. Like, everything in it, like the truck scene, the truck scene through that sort of, is it like a flood overflow area with the bike? It's just the action scenes are incredible in this movie.
Yeah, it was Tony Scott, not James Scott. Well, there's the minigun out the window, obviously. Mm-hmm. And that's not so much a stunt. Like, there's obviously some.
All the cars must have been.
I was just about to say that. Although, however, the apocalypse scene that in Sarah's gnarly dream, they're definitely models. The cars that get blown up and shit, like blown into the wind, they are definitely toy models. And then that bit where the Terminator, speaking of that like helicopter scene, when the Terminator like climbs up the front of that's a different scene, isn't it? That's the one where the T-1000's in a truck, and the Terminator just climbs up the bonnet and just machine guns him at point blank through the windscreen in the chest. Unbelievably awesome. Just such a cool, what a great, I like the fact that somebody has that idea, but it works.
Yeah.
Like it's not far-fetched in any way. Like he would do that. And yeah, the machine. It's also very funny that the minigun scene is probably one of the most, I mean, quote unquote violent. We're not talking gore here. We're just talking like in terms of movie violence and action. It's probably one of the most action-packed violent scenes. Yeah, but there's zero casualties. Just like he is worse. Like the Terminator is worse for knees than the entire blowjob industry. He kneecaps everybody at that point. Kneecap City.
I will say that one it's another great scene. You're right, but it does feel like he looked cool. That guy looked cool in Commando that did that thing with the minigun. Let's just make Arnie do that.
They know it. Yeah, that's one thing that they have been able to okay, right, he's done, who's your daddy and what does he do? It's not a tumor and all that shit from Kindergarten Cop. But don't worry, lads, because we can still put this fucker in some shades and give him a ridiculously cool shotgun he can spin around to reload, or a grenade launcher or a minigun, and he will look like the baddest motherfucker to have ever lived. It's just so cool to watch him do that kind of stuff. Just give this man a massive gun and some shades and probably a cigar, and you've won.
I realised
the film's done.
I was mixing these up, so I need you to tell me which one's which. So, in Terminator 2's when he arrives in Terminator 2 naked, that's when he goes into the dive bar, right, and chucks the guy on the. That's
the one where he says,
"Your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle."
No, that's 2.
Is that 2?
No, wait. 2 is the one where he goes into the dive bar.
Yeah.
And he says, give me your clothes, your boots, your motorcycle, and then
What does he do?
And he takes all that.
In
1, it's the one where nice night for a walk, eh?
And
then he goes, I need your clothes. Club. Yeah. One of the worst parts of the game, but we'll get to that in a minute. Actually, it was all right. Actually. That's harsh.
Yeah. But yeah, Terminator 2 for me is one of the great action movies. And I enjoyed every single second of it. And you're right.
Did you?
Yeah. And I'm trying
Did you? Right. Okay. So I wanted to ask you this.
To remind me of a bit I didn't enjoy.
I'm about to remind you of John Connor. Is he okay for you? Yeah.
So I sort of get on with him eventually, just sort of accept him for what he is. He's an asshole at the start of the movie.
Yeah.
He's just a brat, right?
But at the start of the movie, especially when he's talking about his childhood, and he's definitely showing his console wars allegiances in 91, where he's like, I had this childhood of going in helicopters and being, flying around and on the run, and all the kids at school like Nintendo. But at the beginning of the movie, he's in the arcades. However, he is playing that sick ass Afterburner arcade cabinet. So he's clearly a Sega kid. So I allowed it. He's obviously taking a shot at Nintendo. He's not saying video games suck because you've been playing them at the beginning of the movie. So you can't claim to me that you think they're for fucking wusses, because that's all you've been doing with your spare time. Don't know why he's allowed to have a motorbike at all.
No.
I like his Public Enemy shirt. That's cool. But yeah, it's mainly just his puberty voice, where it just keeps breaking every time he shouts.
Yeah,
that's the thing that I can't handle.
Annoying, but he's just a kid.
Yeah,
I find most
exactly.
kids annoying.
Yeah, you're meant to find him annoying as well, and then you're meant to see this, him kind of grow up, I suppose, alongside the Terminator growing down into more of a human being. And of course, again, they need it for the tonal whiplash of when Sarah Connor's having a lovely, looking at them doing their high five game, and then dreams about getting absolutely fucking eviscerated.
Yeah, and
just get vaporized.
Their friend's picnic table, and then just drives off without telling anyone about it.
Yeah. What the fuck was that bit, actually, thinking about it? I've never really, I mean, I know, it's so weird. Obviously, actually, props to Linda Hamilton, because she got fucking jacked.
Yeah,
I'm not being sexist here, but she got jacked the way that a woman who isn't using steroids can get jacked, which is kind of, she's sort of leaned out and you can see she's got tone in her muscles. She can't be like Arnie. Women's bodies just aren't genetically built to do that unless there's some kind of imbalance, I guess, going on, like Jade Cargill, but she definitely juices anyway. So yeah, props to her. Absolutely transforms the character the way that the story needed her to. almost more than it feels like it needed it to. Like in the first one, she's just terrified for almost all of it. She's almost totally useless. And then in this one now, she's a fucking like an uncaged animal. She's just so badass. And she plays it in such a believable way.
You're right.
It's like she changed her career surely from that, like that one performance. Like she just went so not far with it, but she just leaned into what she needed to do to just be this crazy fucking hardcore mum that's just chiseled and grizzled. But I still don't understand why she's got like a little Mexican gun range mate or whatever the fuck. No, I don't understand that part. Don't worry, I've got a spot out in the desert we could hide at. But she's obviously doing what she's got to do.
I feel like John Connor sort of alludes to the fact that she spent a lot of years sleeping around with different people as well. So I thought he was one of the men, but he's got a whole family. So I don't really know where this Mexican sort of fits into the timeline. He's just sort of a guy that just seems to be a gun storage guy. Like, what's he getting paid? Why has he left the guns? Like, if you're the kind of guy that's going to store guns for some random, how much has she paid him for her to be able to go off into a mental asylum and him to just leave the guns there ready for her? God,
yeah, and all that stuff in the mental asylum too. Like that had to be hard on her as well. Like the way that they she was going to have to be treated in those all of those scenes, and lots of screaming and shouting, and incredible from her. Like just like she was quite shit in the first film. She wasn't the greatest actress. The character was fine. It's what it needed to be. But in this one, she's just like a woman transformed into like an icon, basically.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And she does a good job of making it a believable transition as well. Like I didn't find the change in character particularly off-putting. I found it believable and it worked. And they had to do it, right? Because she was described in the first movie as being sort of some sort of leader towards the resistance, and like she's like an icon. So she had to at some point change from being this sort of woman that needs saved into being a bit of a badass. Yeah, I believe it.
Can we draw more parallels to Alien and Aliens again?
Yeah, you're right.
She what the fuck's her name?
Are you talking about Linda Hamilton?
No, the woman from Aliens.
Ripley, that I've forgotten her name as well.
We are getting old, man. We're turning it in my dad, who just can't remember anyone's name. Yeah, Sigourney Weaver from the first one. She wasn't totally Linda Hamilton. She wasn't totally Sarah Connor in the OG Terminator levels, but in the second one, again, a film that's happened before this has happened, before T2's come out, you've had Sigourney Weaver become this iconic female badass. They had to have been thinking, right, we got to do this for Sarah Connor. It makes perfect sense. She knows the future is fucked up. She knows that she has this role to play to stay alive, look after John, protect him, and help take down the machines. It just works perfectly to kind of ape that level of, like I said, female badassery. And James Cameron's directed them both, so he knows how to do it.
It's got to be one of the few. T2's got to be one of the few movies that I can think of in modern Hollywood that doesn't have a love interest on the go.
Even the first one does.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I was trying to think as I was saying that. I'm surely I've missed it because it's such a...
It's the love between a man and his robot. A boy and his robot.
Boy and his robot.
Yeah. That's all it is. One last thing as well. Very cool to see Hank Schrader as one of the SWAT team cops in this as well. Bit of Dean Norris on the go.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Oh, Breaking Bad. You not seen Breaking Bad?
Yes. Well, I've seen most of it.
Oh, okay. Hank, the brother-in-law, who's the policeman.
Oh, yes. Did I miss him?
He's a policeman in this as well.
Is he?
Yeah,
I must have missed that. Anyway, the game. What did you think of the game, Alex?
I think the game is fine. I think the game... It's hard, really, I don't want to be harsh on the game because it doesn't deserve it. I'm a big fan of Bitmap Bureau as well. I think when they put their hearts into something and a style of game that they want to recreate for a modern audience. They know how to do it, and they absolutely pull it off. This game as well has such a cool reverence for the film and the sources, the source material. It just is. It feels exactly like what it's trying to feel like, which is a Mega Drive game that can be frustrating, a bit limited, a bit repetitive, and ultimately quite short. But I think what's in there when you're doing it for the most part is pretty good. But I had quite a lot of times where I felt like something could have been done better. From the smaller elements, like why doesn't Sarah Connor pick up different guns in some of the levels? Why she just use a pistol the whole time? The first level of the game, you find an assault rifle, and then she uses that for the rest of the level. Then basically on the normal playthrough, every other single level you have her in, she has a pistol, despite the fact she's killing dudes with shotguns, assault rifles. Like,
it sort of drops that, so you can find 3 assault rifles in the game.
You can if you play on the different playthroughs. Yes, on the different runs, she gets an assault rifle instead, which I actually think is a very cool change.
Because so there's 3 findable ones because you get a trophy for.
Oh, is there
3? Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, fair enough. Maybe maybe that I'll take that back to an extent. Then it just felt like So that was one of the sort of gripes, and then the stuff like the driving sections where it's just press up or down after it beeps at you and puts an icon on screen, and you just have to avoid that. Like, I got really sick of those after a while, especially on the repeated playthroughs, because this took, and then you've got the live system and the continue system, or the same sort of thing. Where, yes, I suppose if you've made a game you're trying to charge 25 quid for, like 45 quid physical for this game, by the way, which is outrageous. A game that you're charging that much money for that effectively lasts, on my first completion, less than an hour. I suppose you do need to pad it with some artificial difficulty or artificial lengthening of, well, if you die on the last level because of that stupid jumping platform bit because you can't make the jump, Alex, then you're gonna have to start all the way from the beginning again, which I had to do. I think it was my third playthrough when I finally completed it, and then I did 2 more to do both the different alternative route ones, and then I've had enough. I don't ever want to play it again. So, yeah, I think visually cool. I think the soundtrack in this game is awesome. Like, they've taken some of the more iconic bits, themes and melodies from the original films that you can kind of picture in your head, and they've run with it in a way that feels really tonally correct, even though it's not original score stuff. So I think that's good. I think the look of it is kind of perfect. I'm looking at my review for the Terminator on the Mega CD. I'm thinking back to RoboCop versus Terminator. Like, it looks exactly like those games did. Obviously, slightly more high def and all that kind of stuff. And it plays absolutely fine. It's just there are some parts of it that, after how many times, the amount of times I've played through them again, I was kind of dreading those bits coming back in again. The bit where you're John Connor on the bike, just like, just have to press up and down. And then the Terminator bit on the bike, one of the coolest bits of the film, it's over in like 30 seconds, and you're basically just holding down shoot and moving out of the way of stuff. So yeah, like I think I don't know what else they could have done. I think it's a great modernization of 2D action games from the 90s, and it's a really, really great homage to Terminator. But I don't know if those things are wholly enjoyable anymore. I don't know. I can't forgive its misgivings because it's from the 90s, because it isn't. And so some of them just felt like it was a bit of a letdown in some places. What did you think?
It's a funny one, because as you were talking there, I find myself agreeing with pretty much everything you've said. And I think as a value proposition, it sort of changes things somewhat, because you're right, for what it is, it's quite light. In saying that, I did love every sort of moment I had with that game. I seem to have had a much better more enjoyable time than you did with it.
I think I've just been too critical of it.
Because like I say, I think I completed it multiple times. I did all the endings, started doing some trophy grinding. I completed every single mode that the game's got. So I went and did all the.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Jesus!
I went and did all the. There's like the Mother of Time mode or something like that.
Yeah, remind me, what's that?
It's just all the Linda Hamilton levels.
Oh, that's
stitched
it.
together into one story. And then I did the boss rush mode, and I had an absolute blast doing the boss rush mode. But you're right, and like I found the continues sort of unnecessary and frustrating because I did start doing a hard playthrough, and it but they basically have just like they've made everything much more difficult, and they've stripped out a lot of where the continues are. So it's just like so I've got it's harder, and there's going to be less continues, and I died once in a silly place. And I was just like, I can't be bothered. So then I just turned it off, and that was the last time I played it. But what I did play of it, I think you're right. Like the music's great. It looks phenomenal. It's some of the best sort of
sprite work and animation
I've ever seen. Like that. Like I talk about liking artwork on my wall. I'd put that Terminator with the flames behind him on my wall, or have that on my computer.
Oh, the way that they do like effectively like an FMV screenshot or whatever, like, and actually trying to make actual art out of it rather than just pixel art. That looks unbelievably cool.
I'm also all in on the idea that it's like, right, this is ostensibly a 90s movie franchise, so what we're going to create around it is a 90s video game, like for warts and all. I absolutely love that idea. I
do too. I just don't know how
done much.
Yeah, other than I guess if these guys do it, but. Yeah, like as you said, for all its faults, they did one of these.
Yeah,
and that is commendable. Just after a couple of times of failing it and then having to go back and like repeat bits that I'd already done, I started to lose sight of the merits of it after a while when I was just having to do like some of the the truck chase bit. I actually really like the hospital bit, but then after a while, it just feels like this is just so slow now. The bit where you're escaping the hospital to Sarah Connor, and you've got to sort of wait for the guards' torchlights to get out of the way so you can take them out quickly, and then you've got to hide from the T-1000. It's weird because we're talking about value proposition, and we're talking about the length of the game, but I just wanted it to hurry up and get that over with. Just like, come on, I just want to get to the end now.
But yeah, I thought it was fun to shoot things, like moving about. It was extremely responsive. It was sort of, I don't know. I sort of just would describe it as it's exactly how you would remember a Mega Drive video game rather than how a Mega Drive video game would be. If that does that make sense? Because I think that's quite an important distinction.
I wish I told you to play those two games before this so you could kind of compare them.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to do that and then come back with a little brief.
Yeah, maybe we do. I'd be up for
intro
that.
The next time around, just to see if you can see how closely these get there.
Okay.
Or if I can go back and remind myself, maybe I think they are miles off, or this is miles better. I'm not entirely sure, but to me, this kind of feels exactly like those ones did. Frustrations and all, and the Terminator on Mega CD and RoboCop Terminator are two games that I really, really like. The same as this one, but games that are still actually quite frustrating. If you start to lose patience with it and get fucked up by the difficulty spikes and things like that.
For some reason, it was giving me like random flashbacks of Mega Drive games. So the chase sequences, I was like you're right where you've got to just push up and down and stuff.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, this is like Aladdin when you're on the magic carpet, and I just kept thinking of that every time I was playing it. And then the other one for some reason, and I think it was because of the staircase and how you sort of go down the stairs and come back on yourself. It was just every time I was just like randomly reminded of that Michael Jackson game on Mega Drive for some reason.
Oh, that's one of Rob's favorites. That is.
But I think it's because that's how Michael Jackson moves around whatever building he's in. It's the stairs working exactly the same way, and it was just giving me flashbacks of that. Which again, it just sort of made me think, oh, this is, I love what they're going for here. Like I think I said in my notes that I've taken, like if you get games that try and do different things, you'll get games that will shoot for realism, you'll get games that will try and be a simulation, you get games like basically like an Assassin's Creed game that seems to be built to just turn your brain off. Like this game just seems to be shooting for nothing but pure vibes, and I think it nails that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
just, I had a grin on my face for other than when I got right to the end and lost all my continues. That
Yeah.
I was frustrated then, but other than that, I just had a massive grin on my face the whole time. But it was too short lived for 25 quid.
Yeah. Do you know what Road Avenger is?
No.
I'm gonna have a stab that you don't. That is like an anime style FMV,
Cool.
basically
I like the way it
QTE
looks.
game on the Mega CD. And every time I was playing a chase sequence in this game, I thought to myself, like, God, I wish they did this like Road Avenger.
Oh, this
Just
looks
let me.
amazing. Like
Yeah,
visually, I
sick.
don't know how it plays,
Yeah.
but like visually, it looks.
Oh, it's
great.
just press the directions at the right time, basically. So there was part of me that kind of wished that they leaned into that and then used the clear artistic talent that they've got when they were doing those, as you said, like the sort of like the portraits of the people. Just do something slightly different with the driving bits, because those are the bits were the ones that did fuck me off the most, because they're some of the coolest parts.
Because, like I say, like that, I liked it. It reminded me of that Aladdin
Yeah.
game, but then they didn't have to do it again.
It's
when
three
you were doing the
times,
hell- is it three?
kind of, isn't it?
You-
Is it three times? There's the freeway chase, and then there's like two parts of the John Connor one.
Right,
There's
okay.
the bit on his bike on his own, and then there's the Terminator
And
bit.
there's the
So
Terminator bit, yeah.
yeah,
Someone said that they wondered if they perhaps didn't get the imaging rights for Arnold Schwarzenegger because he doesn't really show up anywhere. Like they've got the T-1000 guy, Robert Patrick. They've got his likeness. They've got Linda Hamilton's likeness, I think. But they
yeah,
at
loads.
no point do they have Arnold Schwarzenegger in any pixelated stuff. The closest you get is like obviously in his naked scene, but it's like a smudged version of him.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That was a very, like I said, I was being a bit facetious about that level earlier. That beat 'em up level is kind of cool.
I like that they mess with time for instead of health, because they're like Terminator's meant to be this thing. We can't have him getting killed by some sort of bar idiot with a pool cue, so they just sort of add time on.
Yeah, and the boss at the end of that level is pure like a proper beat 'em up boss.
Oh,
he is basically Bebop and Rocksteady from the Turtles arcade game. There's exact same movements. Goes diagonally, shoots you with a gun. The bit that made me the most like have the biggest smile on.
Sorry, if you're saying that.
That's what I was going to say. Actually, he punched the jukebox.
It changes.
Yeah,
like it does in the movie. Yeah, also like that.
Yeah, and it plays the song from the movie as well. Yeah, Bad to the Bone. Yeah. The moment where I had the biggest smile on my face was definitely when you do one of the alternate playthroughs where you so there's the game offers, for those who don't know, the game offers you a couple of moments to make a choice of almost all centered around what to do with Dyson and what to do with the Terminator's chip, where they reset it in the movie. And we haven't even really touched on any of that from the film as well. We're talking about how it's like a thought-provoking film. You've got this dude at the heart of it. You've got they made Oppenheimer in 1991.
I found Dyson's acting really unsettling, like in a good way.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
I believed that he had been shot when he was sitting.
Has anybody ever done I'm losing my ability to breathe properly than that guy? It's just horrible. It made me out of breath watching the poor guy. I don't actually understand his motive at the end of that. Is he turning on him? Is he like, because he says, I don't know how much longer I can hold this?
To me, like,
was he hoping that? Because I was hoping they were just going to. Well, I was thinking he's hoping they're going to just go, oh yes, don't worry, I'll grab it for you, mate. But they will just run away and let him drop it.
Yeah, I just thought they were he was just trying not to kill police officers. Basically, is what I took from that.
Okay, fair enough. I think that's probably what he was doing. Yeah. But yes, so when you make these changes, the game, it's the best thing this game does. Although the differentiation between the two outcomes you can get, the two additional outcomes you can get from it, are a bit of a letdown. But it does let you play a bit of alternate history with the game, which I really think is very, very cool.
Yes.
The best one of which is the one where you do change the Terminator's chip and allow him to kill Dyson.
Yes.
Because then you get to be the Terminator with the minigun.
Which is a cool level. Yeah.
Made me yell in excitement that I was like, oh, yes. I was so upset I couldn't do this initially. I thought, what a missed opportunity. Because they tease you with it. They show him at the window when the level's ending, and you then get to do it out of the window. That is the best bit of the game by a million miles.
Again, I just want to touch on that again. I think that just shows a Bitmap Bureau sort of get the the purpose of the movie. Again, they've called
Yeah.
the movie No Fate, so they would have had to. But yeah, I like that they sort of built it into the mechanics that choices matter in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, like you say, there's a bit where John Connor can die in the game, and there's bits where he doesn't die, and you're right, like it just changes.
Yeah, that is a hard boss fight, actually. The old T800, double T800s is quite tricky. Unless you get into the sweet spot where they can't hit you with their spanning thing.
That was the one when I was doing the boss rush mode. I could do the final boss basically without getting hit, but that T800, that was the one that kept doing me. I had to do it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and it should be hard. Like, it's a special bonus, like, end fight or whatever. And it's 2 Terminators. That was pretty cool. I enjoyed that very much. What was I going to say? Oh, actually, when I said that, the first time around, I think the first 2 playthroughs I died before I got to the end on the last level, which I think is called Future War Retaliation, which is where you, after the end of the movie, you then play a John Connor bit in the future. Is that in T3?
Say that again.
Is that the last level of the game where you're playing as John Connor back in the future? Is that anything of that in T3? Is there any, or is that just entirely they've made this themselves and stuck it in, or is that something from one of the future films?
Wrong, but I've not seen it in what I've watched.
Okay.
T3 is almost exclusively set in 2001 or whenever the movie came out.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I died on that level on my second playthrough and then had to start again. But on my first playthrough, I actually got my last continue taken away by the T1000 in the steel mill. The bit where he runs from behind.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even see him.
Yeah.
And he just came right up and stabbed Sarah Connor and game over me. And I thought, you know what? Appropriate. That's fair. I died to the T1000. He's a relentless, unstoppable killing machine. Cool. I'll take it. Second time around, when I got to that final John Connor level and kept falling off the platform because I couldn't time my jumps properly, then that probably soured me on it more than it should have done. Let's briefly, do you have any highlights in the game? Like, what were some of your favorite levels, if you can remember?
So, yeah, I mean, honestly, the highlights for me were the boss fights. I thought they were quite nicely varied, really fun, exciting.
Bandit Bob, your favorite of those, was it?
What's that?
Bandit Bob was your favorite of those? Big old cowboy. That's definitely not in the film, is it?
No, I've not seen that in any.
No, that's another cool thing that this game does, isn't it? It actually bridges the gap between T1 and T2, where you get to see Sarah Connor building up to being the badass that she is and teaching John all that stuff. There's a bit where I think it even touches on a line from the film that John says, where he says that his mum got arrested for like blowing up a factory or something. Is that right? Or blowing up a computer?
Oh yeah,
something like that. Computer lab.
She tried to break into something.
Yeah, and that you do that in this game as like the sort of.
I never put that together. You're right.
Yeah, the sort of prologue to the actual start of the film, where you're, I guess you're the T. You don't get like level 6 before you're actually at the start of the film. Level 6 is the biker bar level where you're the T800 naked. So before that, you've got 5 levels, 3 of which you're Sarah Connor kind of just getting up to this factory, Cyberdyne factory, and blowing something up. And then you've got a couple of future ones with John Connor. So yeah, like it has quite a lot of extra stuff to the film, but still then thereafter sticks very faithfully to the timeline of the film. And but yeah, go on. What are some of your favorite bits?
I feel like it's a cop out to say the bosses, but yeah, the bosses generally, I thought they were fun. They had a nice mechanic. Once you sort of figured out what they were doing, they were quite easy, but it was still sort of fun playing that and figuring out. Honestly, probably I just enjoyed running about shooting things. So the Cyberdyne level is probably the biggest level I can think of that allowed you to just do that for a long period of time. So that one, it also had a little bit to it in that you could sort of, it was like very light, but go off in your own direction and choose how to do it.
The bombs one.
Yeah, the bombs one. Probably that, because you're right. I enjoyed them for what they were. You know, like the motorbike chase and the bit in the mental asylum. and they did a good visual.
They're the iconic bits of the film that needed to be
did
done.
a great visual job, and
Yeah.
even like the Mentalists, like they managed to do the different things. You're right, like the way they clearly have a huge reverence for Terminator.
Yeah,
because you're right, they do the walking through the bars thing. They do all the different bits and pieces that is sort of iconic from the film. The way that Arnie uses his shotgun and stuff like that. But you're right, they are what they are. It's just pressing up.
And they always seem to be the shortest ones. Like even the steel mill level is very short for the sort of second to last level. Yeah. And every time the T-1000 comes up to you, you've got your shotgun, 3 blasts, and he's done.
Which level, like all these different levels kept reminding me of different games. I was getting the Jurassic Park Mega Drive game vibes from that one. And I wonder if they had just sort of looked at lots of different Mega Drive games and tried to sort of build games that sort of like famous game mechanics into this game.
I think they did. Yeah, I think they did. I definitely think that they had some inspiration for the different types of game mechanics that they were putting in there. Like I've already said, the beat 'em up one, definitely.
I loved how incredibly naff Arnold Schwarzenegger looked coming up on that conveyor belt at the end to dinosaurs. His opponent. That was funny.
Yeah, to grenade launcher the bloke.
I would have liked a fighting level. Like playing against Arnold and having a bit of a fight against the T-1000 would have been fun.
Yeah, because you can watch it in the steel mill level, which is slightly confusing because I kept thinking, like, am I supposed to be doing something or just watching them have a bit of a scrap?
I just kept running off. Did they do?
First time I stood and watched them for a bit. They just fight for ages. I just don't think it stops. They just keep like chucking each other about. It's not repetitive though. From what I could see, the animations were all kind of unique.
Oh, nice.
It wasn't just repeating the same loop.
What about you? Do you have a favourite?
I think a lot of it's probably in the reset chip playthrough. Yeah. The Terminator kills Dyson route. I thought the police station escape. I mean, the amount of times the amount of times this game just lets you kill policemen is quite funny as well. Like basically the second level of the game, Sarah Connor's just shooting cops in the middle of the street, like does not give a shit. So I enjoyed coming out of the police station because that one you get an assault rifle in that from the start. Obviously the T-800 Cyberdyne level is it's just incredible. I mean, that was so much fun to do that. There's quite a lot of John Connor levels, and they were okay. They felt very much like the Terminator game on the Mega CD because a lot of that is you playing John Connor in the future, shooting Terminators with like laser weapons. So that kind of reminded me of that. But I did find those levels imminently, whatever, like significantly harder than the Sarah Connor levels. Certainly the last level I found quite difficult. It just felt like some of the enemies in that, like the dudes who are on the turret guns that's shooting quite low, and the dogs were kind of it's funny. They were
annoying. Sorry.
Yeah, they were throwing me off my rhythm, but at the same time, I don't know why I found that annoying. That was just because it was personally slighting me. So I was thinking I think I even said to you, like, everybody on that level is stopping me from being able to just done shoot and kill them, which you can do on Sarah Connor levels basically every time when you're fighting humans. But then I shouldn't be annoyed at that, because otherwise you can just cheese the game by ducking and shooting. Yeah. So I shouldn't be annoyed by that. But I did like I liked some of the bosses in his levels a lot, actually. Now you've mentioned it. And I liked some of the bits where you have to kind of take cover behind a wall and just shoot basically like a massive building that's firing at you. And some of his weapons were quite cool. Those weapon upgrades kind of made me have a bit Gunstar Heroes vibes with the blue and the green and the reds, different types of guns. Maybe a bit of Metal Slug going on in there as well. Blue Gum, my favourite. I think the sort of one that kind of goes through walls.
Is that what it did? I never figured out, because they called it.
I felt like it did that
or something like that. I just didn't really know what it was doing.
Yeah, it seems like a penetrating. I think maybe it would have gone through enemies as well if I'd have noticed anything like that. But I found that I could kind of shoot up through the floors a lot more with that one than the homing missile seemed quite finicky. Like it wouldn't. I'd be stood below something and it clearly would start to home in on them, then it would just stop and then start. It felt like it was switching itself off sometimes. I didn't understand it. Didn't feel very homing enough at the time. But yeah, I liked his different guns, but I liked his bombs. I liked the fact that his bombs were basically, if you saved them up, you could absolutely like just batter a boss.
Another nod to the movie Terminator 1, actually, wasn't it? Where he makes pipe bombs in Terminator 1.
Yeah.
Or Reese Kyle. Kyle Reese, or whatever he's called.
Yeah, he does, yeah. So that was kind of like, after you've played it through a couple of times, like by the time I was doing my last playthrough, you can get pretty good at this game quite easily. Like I've been talking to Steve from Video Game Hall of Fame about this, because he loves, like, RoboCop versus Terminator is like his favorite Mega Drive game by a million miles. He loves the movies as well. And I've kept saying to him, like, surely you're going to play this. And he keeps saying to me, "Oh yeah, but I just think I'm too old and it's going to be too difficult for my reactions." And I mean, I'm going to have to go back and tell him, like, mate, you play this game through twice and you'll be speed running it without even thinking about it. Like, I was beating levels so fast by the end. I think my final playthrough was just over half an hour. It's just like this. Once you get this game down, until you play it on hard, I suppose, you could really start to take the piss out of this game.
Yeah,
which maybe that's slightly disappointing me as well. I don't really know what I wanted from it, to be honest.
No,
but what I got was a faithful Terminator recreation in 2D and a faithful recreation of 90s Mega Drive games, which I'm a massive fan of both of those things.
I think, like I say, I agreed with I agree with all your critiques of the game. My biggest frustration is, I just think, as a value proposition, it's quite difficult to justify. But I think if you sort of had this game, just take the game in isolation and take the cost out of it, the time I had with it was great. It's just very short lived. But then I wouldn't have wanted it. The game that they made, I wouldn't have wanted a 10-hour version of that. So
yeah, exactly. So again, it's where I get kind of stuck on what do I want from this.
Yeah, that's a tricky bit. It's just like, I like everything they're putting down. Yeah, it's a tough package to try and sort of wholeheartedly recommend.
I think the problem is that maybe because we've done this, well, partly right, we've done this for a pod, so we've tried to pick up as much from it as we can before we talk about it, and also we've suddenly become maniacs trying to get completion of games from after Requiem.
I'm not sure why.
So we've basically taken away the fact that this game is like a fun pick up and play experience for a bit of Terminator nostalgia, and we've played it through so many times in a row that we never want to see it ever again, because there's nothing else. We've beaten it and seen everything that it's had to offer in like 4 hours, and we'd never need to touch it ever again.
It hard for 2 days, and then I just hit a point. Like, I'm never playing this again.
Yeah. It does what it sets out to do with such minimal fuss and such a strong level of commitment to the source and to its inspiration for gameplay, that you can't really say that there's anything inherently wrong with the game, other than, like you say, for 25 quid, it just doesn't feel like it's worth that, even if you've had fun with it, because although replayability is strong for a while, you're talking about replayability of a game that you can beat in under an hour anyway. Mm-hmm. So it really is only going to last you. If you spend more than sort of 6 or 7 hours on this game, you probably are very bad at it and keep failing. Because otherwise, I guess if you're playing the hard mode, then probably it will take you quite a lot longer. But for the most part, this game is not going to last you double figures amount of hours.
It just becomes, you end up playing to sort of do it all in the harder difficulties as well. I'm also fully aware that it requires me to play a game in a way that I don't like playing games. You're essentially memorizing the layout of levels and how to do each bit, and you're basically just trying to perfect run it, and that's just not. It's not how I play games.
Yeah, but I think that, like I said, I think that's what just happens when you've played this game a couple of times anyway. Yeah. Like the Sarah Connor one, like I felt like I had that totally memorized by the time I was doing it on the subsequent playthroughs.
Yeah. I knew exactly where I needed
same with the bosses
to not get hit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which there's fun in, but it was fun for a short period of time, and then it sort of when it stopped. There was no ramp down. It was oh, this is great. I'm done. There was no in between.
Yeah. The nature of doing a game like this in the like where you're aping a style of an older game and everything that came with those games at the time, what you end up with, if you do it well, like they have done, is a game where if this was a Mega Drive game, this would be one of the best games on the Mega Drive without question.
Yeah.
As a game in 2026, it's just good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's of the wrong era on purpose. But if it was of that era, if it was actually of that era, then it would be incredible. But it's not. It's now, and unfortunately, yeah, that comes with it like just a decent experience. That no, this is not going to be anybody's favorite game. It just can't be. It's too quick, and it's not a classic that you can remember fondly from when you were a kid, and it's not featuring relevant topical source material. It's just pure nostalgia for less than an hour.
Yeah,
which is but we both had fun, and I've really enjoyed watching the films again and just being in a real Terminator mood.
Such a good time. This is one of my favorite things that we do. This and probably Summer of Resi, and it is just so fun to sort of immerse myself in a game and movie franchise for usually about a month or 2 weeks. And I've had so much fun. Like, what was it last year? Did we do RoboCop last year? And it was just so fun, just going balls out RoboCop, playing the game, watching the movies, and I did the same here. Do you know what? The only thing that's bad about that is I am being left feeling like a bit of a bummer, because Terminator 1 and 2, especially Terminator 2, are genuine all-time classics. And I just feel like Terminator 3, it's a fine movie, in my opinion, but it just totally misses the point that Terminator has built on, and just takes the movies, the story in a completely different direction. And I know you said before we started recording that you quite liked Salvation, but I've watched half of Salvation and I feel like I need to see it through. But I am not enjoying that movie at all at the moment.
I think I liked it because 3 is so shit, and obviously there'd been quite a period of time since that came out, and it felt like, you know, they ditched Arnie from it, and they tried to sort of, you know, branch off and tell a slightly different story. That it felt better than Terminator 3 just felt a bit cynical and lacking any direction of like, come on, here's another one that he's hanging off the side of a truck now. There's a woman Terminator he's got to run from now. Like, it felt lacking in ideas, and I'm pretty sure it does some kind of horrible retcon the law changing shit at the end. Does it?
3.
Doesn't 3 just end with them losing to the robots and that's just it? Is that right?
Yeah, so basically the whole thing is they go to the military complex to like stop this wifey's dad from setting loose Skynet, and he's like, oh, go to this location because that's where you can destroy Skynet. They get to the location and realize it's just a nuclear bunker, and that there is no sort of central hub to Skynet, and it can't be killed. So they're just like, oh well, we've lost. So they just sit in the bunker while the world is destroyed.
Yeah,
and the Terminators die by getting crushed by a heavy mechanical door. Even though the T-1000 in Terminator 2 would have been fine with that, it would have just slipped off. Yeah,
certainly would.
Downgrade. That's what the T3, whatever she is, the 1001 or whatever she's called.
Yeah, it is a downgrade. We didn't even speak about the special effects in T2, did we? But
no, we did.
They hold up.
Yeah, they do.
Apart from the only one that I didn't think was that great in T2 was what I initially kind of looked back on and thought looked really cool is when T-1000's getting shot with the shotgun.
Oh, there's one where it looks like he's just wearing a flower on his lapel.
It just looks like he's wearing some tin foil on the outside of his jacket. Yeah. Because I thought to myself, like, I can't wait to see how they like try and analyze how they did that CG effect on his jacket where it looks like he's got holes in him. And then I realized, no, you can actually see that it's flap around when he's moving, because it's so obviously on the outside of him. It's not inside his body. Yeah, really weird.
There's a couple moments.
Really
Did
weird.
You get it as well. I just wondered if they were sort of victims of the HD touch-upification. Like there was Terminator, the T1 had a few bits where Kyle Reese had like a scar that was just clearly something someone had stuck on his face, and it was just
I was wondering if that was a real scar, because it's so massive and you don't see him get it. I thought, poor bastard, where'd he get that scar from? But maybe it isn't real.
In the car, and it just looks like someone's just stuck it on. But then in the scene later, it's improved. It's much better. It was just that one scene.
It was at that point I thought, yeah, maybe this is a fake scar.
There's also, I noticed in T1 that they've clearly just stuck like magnetics or like stickers over the side of the police cars. Like it's so obvious that they've just cut out a vinyl and stuck it over the top. The police car also changes as well during that cutscene. Like what's written on the side of the car changes.
Oh, does it?
At the end, yeah.
The first film where you've got like Arnie trying to pull his eye out and stuff. I mean, that has not held up well. That's the sort of prosthetic Arnie face. but it's weird because it was either in that. I'm pretty sure it's in that. It is in that film. There are moments later on in that film where they just put prosthetics over Arnie's face.
Yeah,
and it looked way better. But there's a bit like I understand the bit where he's like pulling the eye out. You've got to try and figure out a way to make a man do that if you want to see him front on, where he can't be his face, and you don't have computer graphics to do it. So the practical effects there I can kind of understand, even though they look really shit. But there's a bit where after that he's kind of looking at himself and he puts his shades on, and it's still the fake head. Whereas later on, obviously they put the shades on so they don't have to use the prosthetics anymore. Yeah. Just happens to make him look badass as a nice consequence. Bit of serendipity there. But there were parts of that scene where I was like, why couldn't you just use the prosthetic face, like the makeup on him in that bit? But you used too much of the fake head when there were scenes where you didn't need to do that. You only need to do it when he's pulling the eye out.
Yeah, the fake head was.
And I'm pretty sure there was one moment in T2 where that sort of reared its quite literally ugly head again.
Oh, you're right.
And I thought to myself, like, why have you gone back to that again? Yeah. You're above this, aren't you?
I did like it when they cut the skit, like they de-gloved him, basically.
Yeah,
that was really
cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, some of the moments with the T1000 were a little bit, not naff, but just not as effectively used as some of the different parts where he's like molding himself around. It's very Alex Mack, if you remember that TV show from that era. Some fucker found out a water effect in some computer program and was like, right, this is going to absolutely change entertainment media.
What is this?
But primarily, it's just a girl who turns into water. She's just a T1000, but at school. I had such a crush on that girl when I was a kid.
Oh, my one! Looking at her, she reminds me of like Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, I had a crush on her too.
Age crush.
And Tia, but not Tamara from Sister Sister. That was that as well.
I want to see her turn in water.
It should be in the opening sequence.
She'll get hit by a car, surely. Oh no, she got like a proper superhero origin story. I've just seen her do that.
Yeah, she did, yeah.
Yeah, she got some sort of toxic sludge spilt on her.
She did.
This is excellent. She can make herself glow. Oh, this kid.
Well, the hijinks she'll get into. She might do.
Movie madness for next year.
But yeah, I think one of the better upgrades, like a sort of night and day upgrade from T1 to T2, is just the Terminators. Like the first film's Terminators are so obviously stop motion on a green screen.
Yeah,
it looked awful. But the second film, I don't even know if it was stop motion anymore. It was so good in comparison.
Yeah, I don't know.
That I thought, is this actually CGI now?
Must be.
I expected in 91 you'd still have to use an actual model Terminator to do this, but they just look so much better. They look so much properly like integrated into the scene itself instead of just superimposed on top of it. It's astonishing what they'd managed to do in 7 years in the early 90s, before Jurassic Park came out, for fuck's sake. Like that film is a technical marvel. Like it really, really is. And always my favorite type of movie, or movie with
Apparently.
SFX in, is going to be practical effects. But if you can enhance those with CGI and make them look better, then go for it. But yeah, what was it?
Apparently, there's 5 minutes total CGI in Terminator 2. The rest is all practical effects. So that would be things like when he was fully metal. So like coming out from the floor, there was a bit where he walks at the fire. He's fully metal. But yeah, the rest they use that. Yeah, it won an Oscar for its special effects.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
Blended with groundbreaking practical effects created by ILM. The film used limited CGI to enhance realism, featuring iconic scenes like Donut Head. What's the Donut Head in Molten Steel? What's Donut Head?
Does he get shot through the middle of his face?
Oh yeah, he does.
Get a hole in his face.
Yeah, Sarah Connor shoots him in the head, and then it does this bit where he walks like in front of the camera, and you can just see through his head.
Yeah,
someone does that anyway.
And what was the last one called? What did they call the last one?
Molten Steel Death. That would just be when he fell in the lava.
When he goes all like, where he has to wear F shirts from now on instead of T-shirts.
Yeah. I will say, we never said this before, but I did say this to you over text. I assume this is a controversial take. I don't like the ending of Terminator 1. I think it's a lot of slow motion crawling. And I thought it just dragged on for about 15 minutes of them either crawling slowly, the Terminator crawling slowly, or them walking slowly up a set of stairs, looking at a Terminator walk towards them slowly.
And it's that, and also
of a 2-hour movie. That is
that suffers as well from what you were talking about in probably the last pod. Maybe when you see the horror movie's bad guy,
the big bad reveal,
and the second film, it does not suffer from this, but the first film really suffers from the fact that the Terminators themselves just look like kind of very flimsy toys. Like by the time it's crawling along at the end, like I don't even know what you're scared. What's it actually going to do?
Yeah, just it's like that. What is it? Would you take $1 million, or is it like would you have 10 million quid if you had a snail that was constantly chasing you throughout your life, but it never stopped moving, and if it touched you, you die. That's what it's like.
I've never heard of that, but that's awesome.
Just go to America, or they could just come to Europe, and then he'd just be slowly crawling after them, and then wait like 5 years, and then go somewhere else, go back the way, make him turn around when he's in the sea. Just keep dragging him back and forth.
Buy a second home, yeah. But at that point, because it's not got a gun. It's got these shitty little like fingers that look thinner than human fingers. What's it going to do to you at that point? It's not like it's the Terminator. Yeah, it's not like it's like the T-1000 where it can like make a knife come out of its hand into your face.
No, he's done. Yeah, that's game over, mate.
So like, what's that shitty crawling legless Terminator actually going to do to her? It don't even look like it can punch her or anything. No. And if it did, I think she could move out of the way.
Yeah, probably. Also,
crush it, yeah.
Yeah, while she's doing that, though, just phone the police and go, look at this. And then she doesn't have to go to a mental asylum because she's got it right there.
Yeah.
Look at this thing that's crawling after me.
The mental hospital thing's kind of shitty as well because of the fact that they clearly know that the original Terminator fucked up many, many men without any injury from being shot at. And they're like, yeah, but you're mental, though. That was just a dude. Wasn't a Terminator. Where did he go anyway? Never saw him again. Is he on the run? You crushed him in a hydraulic press. Okay.
I also like they're like, who is this guy? Because they start showing her pictures in the mental asylum, and clearly, like by the pictures, it's like because he's a robot, it hasn't aged a day, and this is like 10 years later.
Except in T3, where it has aged for some reason. Yeah. I think the Linda Hamilton of T2 would be absolutely ashamed of T1 Linda Hamilton's delivery of "You're the terminated fucker." I was waiting for that line and hoping it was like as cool as I remembered it, thinking it was going to be as good as Sigourney Weaver saying "Get away from her, you bitch" in Aliens, but no, it was fucking lame. It was really lame. She almost whispered it. Oh well, what a good time we had though.
I don't know. My suggestions for next year are currently sitting at Jurassic Park or Die Hard. Would be my two at the moment. Have you got any sort of early suggestions on the board?
I did have one. I was thinking. Oh, I was thinking about. I almost tried to ask, not tried to ask, but thought of asking for a rain check on this for until next year, because I had they just released a
You're not going to say Zelda, are you?
No, no. They just released that Starship Troopers game.
Oh, there's a couple. It's supposed to be like,
yeah. Well, before I decided to play Arc Raiders with you, I was almost, and when we talked about EDF, I did think about like maybe we should try that Starship Troopers game from whatever it was. It's like a PvE one.
Yeah, I've got my.
But they've just brought out a boomer shooter, haven't they? That's G-Man seems to think it's quite good. So I almost said to you, like, shall we do this?
It's maybe the same people that did that Warhammer one.
Yeah, I thought it was. So I did think to maybe because that's more like that game's just come out, we should have done that. Whether it's going to be worth doing that again in a year's time, I don't know. I just want to do the Warriors. I want to do the Warriors because we didn't do that last year. We obviously haven't done it this year either. I just want to play that.
We might have to add another movie segment in later in the year. Maybe we can do it at Christmas time.
Yeah, we could do another movie one because we only done one.
I love these movies. Pods. They're so
cool. We could just call it Movie Madness and then do it again later on in the year. Because there's also like I'd like to play the Transformers games, but then I don't really. The only Transformers film I'd want to watch would be the animated one. Lord of the Rings. We were planning on doing those.
Yeah.
In fact, there is actually 20. Yeah, because it's 25 years of the Lord of the Rings fellowship this year, isn't it? Yeah. So we did talk about that.
Yeah.
That might be a regular, like for the next couple of years. We'll do a Lord of the Rings game plus movie. And see, I don't want to do Alien stuff because you've just watched all the Alien films, so that feels weird. Maybe Chronicles of Riddick I wouldn't mind doing.
Yeah, that's another good.
So I want to play that Butcher Bay game big time.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many fun tie-ins we can do.
Yeah, GoldenEye is another one.
GoldenEye, yeah.
I've never played enough of Scarface. The World Is Yours, but I feel like that should be a good. Yeah, and they haven't brought out the remaster of the thing yet, have they?
The remaster game is out. Yeah,
Is it?
Mm-hmm. It's been out for a while now. It's meant to be.
Quite
good. It got fairly good reviews.
Does it have a IMDb? It's got a 9 out of 10 on Steam, whatever that means.
I watched the thing fairly recently.
Because it's amazing.
We were just talking about it, and I just watched.
Probably.
Maybe I watched it after the Alien movies. Maybe I was.
It's on sale right now, isn't it?
Is it?
£15 down from 25. God damn it! Oh, it's Night Dive as well. Oh. I'm gonna have to think about that. Anyway, I don't actually know what we're doing next time.
I think we've got a draft, we're doing a draft and then potentially Control.
Do you fancy Control?
I'm going to play it at some point. I'm not worried about if you're not in the mood for it. I'll just add it to my backlog.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to play 2 for the pod, but I don't know if I want to play Control again.
That's fine.
So right, especially now when I've got other stuff that I'm enjoying and I want to play instead.
I think in years gone by that would have upset me because I'd be like, oh, when am I going to get to it? But the way we've got our podcast cadence at the moment, it means I've got plenty of time to play my own games. So yeah, I'll play it myself. Okay, cool. Yeah, because I think like the next actual pods will probably game pods we'll be doing will be the Castlevania ones, and they're basically going to be quite short for our Metroidvania if you still want to do that, because it's 40. Wait, how many years of Castlevania is it this year? I'm happy to do those. I enjoyed them. And certainly enjoyed Symphony of the Night. Yeah, so we're gonna. I think what we'll do is we'll do Super Castlevania 4 and Bloodlines, two of the 16-bit era ones that are like traditional platformer level based ones, and then the Dawn of Sorrow, which is like probably the next best Castlevania game ever after Symphony of the Night. And then I stuck in a cool idea for June where we could do 65 years of Sega. Oh yeah, because it's that happens in June, and we can just talk about
I don't know, anything.
Yeah.
Favorite, like, Sega
You have much more to
consoles
say than I
games.
do, but yeah, that's fine.
Maybe I'll give you some stuff to play for that to just sort of give you a rounded idea of my favorite Sega stuff. And then, of course, we've got the 30th anniversary of the N64 as well. You need to be thinking about your top 10 N64 games.
Oh, I wonder what that would be.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
potentially, depending on what Kelsey's doing, potentially a draft, and then see what day it is.
Yeah, and I guess we need to get back to like the Xbox 360 charts and the genre wars. We need to figure those back out. And we've got disappointments. We could probably do one of those.
Yeah.
If you want to have a shout before we play Castlevania, if we've got time this month.
Yeah.
But yeah, next up, hopefully, if Kelsey's around, is the 2013 draft.
2013. What a year. What a year.
We shall see.
Yes. Yeah, like I say, next up, we've done that. I suppose, and that's it, folks. We've got nothing else. Time to steer this ship home. If the podcast isn't enough for you, best place to get us these days is over in Blue Sky, at Thrillix for Alex, at Super Smiley for me, and at Winner Is You Pod for us. We've also got TikTok, YouTube, and we're on all good and some bad podcast feeds if you're watching us on YouTube. Alex, what's your housekeeping?
I ain't got anything. Nothing more from last time.
As I touched on, I have been writing a bit more, so check out my Letterboxd. I'm Super Smiley over there. So if I watch a movie, because Alex is going to be watching a weekly movie, so I'm looking for tips from him. Is it just Tomb Raider? Is it just Terminator you've been watching? Did you slip anything else in over the weekend, movie wise?
No, I didn't. No, I watched 2 movies for this in the space of a couple of days. So I thought to myself, hey, an average of a movie a week, that's fine.
Yeah, you've done it.
So I think my next movie I'm going to watch is going to be Send Help.
Oh, I've not heard of that.
Which is it's the Sam Raimi film from this year, I believe.
Yeah, that looks fun.
Where it's about a couple of people who get stranded on a desert. I don't know how much it's going to lean into horror. But
I love that idea. I'm a big fan of The Beach. I don't know if that's generally considered a good film or not, but I really like it.
I think people look. Yeah, I think people look back on that a lot more fondly than it was received at the time. Hasn't that got a moment in it where he kind of hallucinates and thinks he's in a video game and it's basically like a first-person shooter?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, yes. I think I need to watch it for that.
Yeah,
I definitely need to watch it for that reason.
Are they up your street? I want to watch it's a few months old now, but I want to watch the newest Knives Out movie because I quite liked the first one of those.
Yeah, I hated the second one. Thought that was absolute wank.
The rich guy's island or something, right?
I hated the character. Every character in it was shit, and I hated him. But then the Wake Up Dead Man's supposed to be pretty good. Yeah, I've got that on my list.
Yeah, so
of things to watch.
I need to get to that at some point.
Yeah, what am I actually? Because we've both also got that. What's it called? Rank 1. So I'm Thrillix on that.
To say that, check out. There's this website. I don't know where I found it, but anyway, I discovered it. It's called Rank 1. It's basically like Letterboxd, but for video games. So follow us on
video game reviews and stuff.
Because I'm putting my video game reviews up on there and stuff like that. So check.
Yeah, I think I'm going to just carry on using that forever.
Yeah,
basically. And Letterboxd, I am Super Thrillix, same as I am on whatever it was David just said a minute ago. My reviews are a lot more short form and trying to be funny, whereas David's are
medium probably, whereas mine
brilliant essays.
Mine are just absolute essays. I'm trying to create a daily writing habit. So when I've watched a movie,
daily maniac.
Well, Monday to Friday, I allow myself weekends off if I so desire. But yeah, I'm trying to get into the habit of writing more because I enjoy it. I find it's a good way to sort of process my thoughts and things like that. So if I've watched a movie or played a game, I usually write about that. So if I do write about those things, I just take whatever I've written in my journal and paste it onto Letterboxd or Rank 1. So you'll have a Last of Us one coming up on Rank 1 in a couple of days because I'm nearing the end of that. So it may be short, it may be long. I'm also like, when I was writing about Terminator, I was like, well, what has been said about these movies? What can be said about these movies that hasn't already been said? So I basically just picked the idea of the theme of nuclear proliferation that I sort of got stuck on for a bit on this podcast and wrote about that because it's like, well, it's Terminator. You know what it is. Do you like Terminator? Yes, well, watch it. Do you like Terminator? No, well, don't. That's kind of where I'm at with that movie. The other movie I'm rambling now, but it came into my head. The other movies I was considering watching is I was thinking about watching the 28 Days, 28 Weeks, 28 Years Later movies.
Well, I watched 28 Years Later earlier this year and really liked it. So I'm definitely going to watch the second half of that.
So that's
the fourth one, basically.
Now, hasn't it? Yeah, because I want to watch that. But I actually enjoyed the movie. But I was thinking today, weirdly, I was thinking about this movie today. I think I would have liked that movie more if it wasn't attached to the 28 whatever franchise. Like, I just feel like 28 Days and 28 Weeks, is it? Like, those two were like serious quotation marks because it's a zombie movie, but it's like serious films that didn't have much humor to them. Whereas the 28 Years one's gone very comic booky. Just a complete tone shift that I found quite jarring. But I liked the movie. I just didn't feel like a 28 whatever movie to me.
Don't like Rafe Fiennes with his shirt off in a field.
Yeah. Rubbing iodine on skulls.
Yeah.
And I guess on that bombshell, I've been David, he's been Alex, and we've been A Winner As You. And I'm out.
Keep gaming. We'll be back.